Hey guys, I'm Tyler Calfer. I'm about 8 year recovering meth addict. I just wanted to share some stuff here. Let me just say, God is working continuously. And I just want to share like one thing with you. And this is my first video ever, like recording my voice and face and stuff like that. So I'm not even gonna play this back if I make a mistake or something like that. I'm not playing it back. If I hear my voice recorded, it's just gonna like weird me out. I'm gonna delete it and not follow through with this. But anyways, um, God is still working, and I want to like alliterate that to people. I don't want to say the Bible is still being written, but almost it's almost like as if it could be if there was people going around accounting all this stuff. But I just want to tell you some of my personal experiences with it, and I'm just going to go with one because I mean it gets kind of long, it gets kind of lengthy and whatnot, but I have at least three I'd like to share with you guys, but today I'm just going to share the one. This happened during my meth addiction. I was heavily addicted to crystal meth, and I was doing it like every single day, multiple times a day. um, and at one point, I mean, I didn't have a job or anything like that. Obviously, I quit any job that I had. But anyways, a few years into my meth addiction, I had a car, not insured or anything like that. Um, it's just like, anyways, when you're on meth, you just don't pay your bills. Your bill is meth. Anyways, um, a few years into it, I was at a buddy's house and I just bought like a whole bunch of meth. And also too, prior to this, and we can get into that later, or we can like discuss that in comments or something if you really want to. But prior to this happening, I had come across a fallen down tree on the road two different times prior to this event. And there's like some symbolism there with the tree and all that. But and I almost hit them both, like both times. Like it was right around a turn and I was doing like 50, 60 mile an hour, and it was just like luckily I stopped, and and then like one I just like I almost hit it head on, but like luckily I was able to swerve and go off to the right and go up through the tops, and so it saved me there. But and this all happened within like 2 months time. I was just like, so we can get into that later, but here's what happened. I was at my buddy's house, and I was up in like the upstairs in his bedroom and whatnot, and doing meth. And wind was blowing like crazy and stuff like that, storm. I thought I was parked in a good spot, but anyways, I had my car parked. I'm up there doing our thing and whatnot, and I hear like cracks, like when a tree goes to fall down. You can hear it. It's pretty wild. But you hear the cracking of the tree and everything like that, and boom, and I heard like the tops of like trees like whipping on metal, and I didn't think too much about it. And then I heard somebody in the other room. They're like, "Oh, Calford, dude! Oh man." And so I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, you might want to go look at your car." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like this is like the last thing I have. Like I had like sold my laptops, anything of value that I had was gone to meth. Um, so my car was like the only thing I had left, even though it was uninsured, uninspected, all that. But it was the only thing I had left. So I'm thinking like this tree came down in the middle of my car. It didn't. It came up, it came down and just like whipped the windshield. So my windshield's just like scattered, spidered they call it. Um, and I was like, oh, like how am I going to get a new windshield for this car? Like it's already uninspected and uninsured and all that. Like that's already a problem. Now I got this spidered windshield. Like that's a dead giveaway. Like you can't even just like try to sneak past a cop or something like that. Not that I want to do that anymore, or am I that I'm encouraging that. I'm just saying when you're involved in crime, that's what you think. You don't think of the law, you think of the crime. Like how can I get away with stuff like that? So anyways, this happens, and it just like I don't even know. It just puts me in this mood. So I go back upstairs, I grab my meth bag, and I mean, it's a decent sized bag of meth. Like, I mean, it's a square like that of meth. That's a lot. That is a lot of meth. Um, and I just take it, I throw it down on the thing. And usually before this, I was so careful not to like let any little bit of it go, you know, because I was so like addicted to it. I was like, this is my stuff, like. But this, I didn't even care. I just like dumped the bag out. Some pieces go scattering. I take my lighter and I just like smash down the rock into this big pile. And then I take my credit card and make 2 big lines of meth with it. And I just like down one end, up the other. And I just did that entire bag of meth. I can't say medically. I never got checked out or anything like that. I can't say medically what I'm about to explain further. That I would have died, like if I was hooked up to like some kind of like monitoring device, you know, to monitor my heart and stuff. They've been like, man, you were really close to dying, you know, or it's a wonder you didn't die, something like that. I can't fully say that, but in my mindset and how my body felt after I did that, I mean, this is like, took a little bit of time for it to work in, but this is like 45 minutes later, this all starts happening. I mean, after I did those lines, I felt great. I was like, screw that car, you know. I was like, but I do those lines, it felt great. 45 minutes goes by, and next thing I know, and at this point, I'd been up for 7 days, by the way, 7 days straight, no sleep. I barely ate anything, if anything at all, and if I drank anything, it was just like a little bit of water. So like 45 minutes goes by, and then next thing you know, I just feel like instantly sick, like sicker than I've ever felt in my entire life. And then all of a sudden, like, just convulsively start puking. Like, I'm not trying to be gross, but it was like chunks of stuff. And like I said, I hadn't eaten for 7 days or really drank anything, and now I'm puking up chunks of stuff. So I'm sure like some doctor out there maybe could like look in, like be able to like explain this all fully to me. But so like after 7 days, and then 45 minutes after those 2 big lines, I'm just like convulsively puking. Like I cannot stop. Like I rushed outside, ran downstairs, and just outside I'm puking. And this is in the middle of winter, by the way. It's like mid-January. It was like 20 some degrees out. Snow is flying everywhere. It was a storm. It was a bad time to be outside. And I'm just laying there puking and puking and puking, and you know, I'm trying to yell for the people upstairs. There's a group of people upstairs, and I'm trying to yell for them like, yo, I'm not feeling like this ain't right. Like I've never felt that sick in my life before. I've never felt that bad in my life before. And I'm just like, yo, guys, I need some help. Can you guys please help me out? Nobody's responding. They're just like up in this room, just like locked. Like they heard me. I could hear them talking and stuff like that, but it's just like, you know, like if something bad is gonna happen, they were not gonna help me. So I'm out there puking and whatnot. I'm just like, help, like whispering out, you know, like that, and blah, puking. And then like I hear neighbors, unless I was hallucinating, I don't know, but I heard like neighbors. There was a house close by, and I heard like people over there maybe saying like, hey, you know, is somebody over there? Like, do they need help and this and that? And that goes on for a little bit, and I just like something in me said, Tyler, you need to start walking. I was like, the only way to get some help is if you can get to your dad's house, which is like, it was like 8 miles away. I had to walk through the woods and stuff like that, and this is like, I don't even remember, like 10 o'clock at night maybe, and like I said, it's 22 degrees out. I have like a long sleeve t-shirt on, like cotton t-shirt, jeans, no like long johns on underneath them or anything like that, just like sneakers, jeans, long sleeve t-shirt, and I'm out there in the elements, right? So something hits me, and it's just like, Tyler, you need to start walking. The only place you know where you can get some help and get some safety is your dad's house, and it's like 7-8 miles away, and you got to walk through the woods, so you need to start moving. And so I do that, and I start walking, and I don't get too far from my buddy's house. There's a set of railroad tracks up behind my buddy's house. They're only used like once in a while, but even still, you know, you never know like when the train's gonna come through. So I'm going along, I'm walking, and I get up to the railroad tracks. Now at this point, I'm like 200 yards away from my buddy's house, so not very far. And I get up to the railroad tracks, and like I start walking up the railroad tracks, because the path I needed to go to start to my dad's house was down the railroad tracks. And I start walking, Prior to this, another buddy of mine, and the house that I was behind at this point, was the house that my buddy told me about. It was like one of his uncles, and we were all doing meth. Like, this has been going on for like a year or two now, and like people are stealing stuff, and like it's known in town that like meth is around, and there's all these crazy meth heads and stuff, and they're not good people and whatever. But and he was talking to his uncle, and he said, if I catch anybody on my property now with everybody out stealing stuff and like that, I don't even care. I'm just gonna blast them. Don't even care. So I'm walking and whatnot, and all of a sudden, and like I said, the wind's like crazy blowing, and I just hear this loud bang, and I thought it was him because I was behind his house, and at that point I'm a crazy meth head, and I'm just like, this guy is not appreciative of meth heads at all. So I get down, like I thought it was a shot. Like, I get down on my belly, on my face, and on my face is dug into the snow, and like my hands behind my back, and I'm just like trying to hide behind like the couple inch tracks, like using that as my cover. And I'm just calling out, and I'm not going to use his real name, so we'll just call him Steve. And I'm just like, Steve, it's Tyler. Like, he knew who I was. I was like, it's Tyler. I'm not trying to get into your house or anything like that. I'm feeling real bad, man. I need some help. I was like, please don't shoot. I was like, and like I went on with that mantra for a little bit while longer, and at that point I was just like stuck. Like I wanted to get up and keep moving, but I was just like scared and sick, and like I'm puking out the side of my mouth. All this is going on, and like eventually like my vision starts like in and out, and I'm thinking I'm dying. I thought I was dying. That was like the closest. That was like the closest I ever been. I felt to dying. Like I said, I never like asked a doctor or anything like that to like fully explain what I was going through. But I just like, man, you did too much meth. This is it. Heart's pounding, puking. Been up for 7 days. Like, everything's just going nuts. I think I'm being shot at. I will say later on, when I got a sober mindset and started thinking about it more, and I walked past the trailer, he had a back door with a screen door that's always loose. So what really happened was the wind blew it, bang, up against the side of a trailer, an aluminum trailer. So like that's what created the bang. But in my meth mind, it's like, I'm getting shot at, get down. So then that goes on, and like I said, my vision starts like in and out. I don't know how long this is going on. Like my sense of time and everything's just like, I know it was nighttime, I know it was dark, snow blowing, 20 some degrees outside, I'm freezing, and my face down in the snow and whatnot. And I just like look up, and like at this point I'm praying to God. I'm begging with God. And there's been times in my life where I've been here before, like I think everybody gets there, oh God, if you get me through this, I'm gonna go to church and start reading my Bible, I'm gonna do all this stuff. And like I'm begging and I'm pleading with God. And he pops up, and I like look down the tracks, and there's like this light, like this green light, and it's just like coming towards me and then going away, coming towards me closer and then going away, and then coming towards me closer, even closer, and then going away. It was like this green light. I have no idea what it was, if it was even there. I have no idea, but that's the last thing I remember, and I pass out. And like the snow's still flying, wind's still blowing, still freezing cold, and then I'm out, black. Like I don't remember anything after that. I wake up some point later, and it's daylight, so it's the next day. This is snow still like flying around and stuff like that, and I wake up. The back of me is covered in snow. Like I won't say there's foots of snow on top of me, but there's like an inch or so over top of me, so I was covered. And then I get up and I like brush off all the snow, and like I'm in a daze, and I just look down, and there's like the imprint of my body, like where I had like the heat from my body had melted the snow around me and whatnot, and like you could see the outline of my body. And I just looked down, and I'm just like, the first thing that hit my mind, like, like the first thought after like coming out of this was just like, Tyler, that's your grave right there. And if you continue this stuff, I mean, next time, or you know, at some point, it's going to be your actual body's going to be in that hole. And so I did that, and I'm just like, I'm never, ever, ever doing meth ever again. And like this whole time, I'm walking, and I'm just like thanking God. I'm just like, God, like, I mean, I felt more in touch with God at that moment than ever before in my life. But here's where it gets weird. Instead of like venturing up to my dad's house a couple miles away in the state that I was in at this point, I was like, I need to get warm. Like, I don't know how close to like hypothermia I might be or whatnot. I need to get warm because I was freezing. And I was like, I also need a phone. I was like, there's no way I'm walking 8 miles like this. And well, what do you know? The only place I could think of was my buddy's house. And like, I mean, yeah, probably would have been probably a bad spot to go to. Whenever, you know, you're just like maybe 6 hours sober of meth and you're trying to like stay away from it. You just like had this big enlightenment and you're just like, I'm staying away from all this. But anyways, that was my safety line. That's where I went to. That was my only thought I could get to. And I get inside the house and everybody's like walking around, and like I pop in and they're like, dude, we were wondering about you, man. Like we didn't know what happened. Like the people upstairs in that room said you were sick and whatnot. And this wasn't like the buddy whose house it was. He was gone at the time. It was just like, this is where we all converged to do drugs and hang out and stuff. So this was like a different group of people. And he's just like, the people, you know, those people up in that room were telling me, you know, like you were puking and like yelling shit and stuff like that. Sorry for my language. Yelling stuff. And then next thing they knew, you disappeared. And so like they actually like went out looking for me, and like I was like, where'd you guys go look? And like it was like the total opposite direction of the way that I had went. And so anyways, that happens, and then like after we discuss that, this is just like a couple minutes, you know, after we discuss that, my buddy reaches back and grabs a plate, and he's just like, well, here you go, man. And with the straw, you know, he's like, well, here you go, man. Like, get, you know, liven back up, you know, let's get feeling better. And I'm just like, no, absolutely not. Get that stuff away from me. He's like, oh, you know, it'll make you feel better, man. That's probably why you're feeling so bad, because, you know, you're out of meth and whatnot. And that's coming down off of meth. Oh my goodness. It's not really a physical thing. It is all psychological. Your mind will play tricks on you, and I will get into that too. I had never attempted suicide ever until I started doing meth, and throughout my meth addiction, I attempted it 3 different times, and I'll do that in a different video because that's another God video. But anyways, I'm like, no, get that away from me, absolutely not. And I'm just sitting by the fireplace, getting warm and whatnot, and then he leaves, and I'm by myself, and that plate's sitting on in front of me. And I'm just like thinking about everything that happened. And then, you know, I'm like, God, oh my, thank you so much. This goes on for like 5 minutes. Then I start feeling warm. And then I start thinking about doing that meth. And then like, up until this point, it was like if I thought about doing meth and I had it in front of me, I was doing it. Up until this point, that's what happened. And then, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, starting to feel a little better. I'm like, you know what? This was just a fluke. Tyler, go ahead, have some fun. Before I even went to grab that straw, it pops in my head. It's like, Tyler, do you remember the promise we made? Do you like that? Like I heard it in my head. Like I'm not saying it was like this voice that was around. Everyone heard it. It was just in my head. And it was like, Tyler, do you remember our promise we made? And I thought about that. And I wanted to put the straw down. Maybe I should have. And instead of putting the straw down, I put the straw in my nose. And I do the meth in front of me. But that might not sound real significant, but like I said, up until that point, it was, if there was meth in front of me and I thought about doing it, I did it. Like, no questions asked. I didn't think about anything. But this was like the first time throughout my meth addiction where I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, questioning myself. And the only thing I can do is attribute that to God and, our experience together that night. In my own honest opinion, and like I said, if a doctor wants to chime in, might be different, I don't know. My own honest opinion, I should have died that night. I really do believe I should have died that night, whether it was from like excess amount of drugs in like such a short period of time, or whether it was I would have like frozen to death, like I said, freezing, t-shirt, jeans, sneakers. That was it. And I was out there all night and it was like 20 some degrees. I was like, how am I still alive? Like, I don't understand. I just did not understand at all. And like, this was like the first time in my addiction where I was like, Tyler, maybe everything the way you're thinking of it is wrong. Okay. And almost every time after that, I continued to do meth for another couple years after that. And like some other things happened along the way, and I want to share it all with you. But I just want to say, God is working. He is working. He doesn't care. He doesn't care where you're at. He doesn't care what you're involved in. He doesn't care where you're at, okay? And then even people, like, there's some churches and stuff, it's like, oh, you gotta be your best dressed. It's like, let me tell you something. God brought you into this world without clothes on. He is not concerned about the clothing that you're wearing. I'm sure he's concerned that, you gotta have some clothes. We gotta keep you warm and safe and stuff like that. But he does not care what you're wearing. He doesn't care where you're at, what you're doing, what you're involved in. If it is his time to come to you, then it is your time. And also too, just to clarify, I was brought up in a Christian home and whatnot, going to church and all that. I knew some of the beliefs, and even up to this point, still, I have not read all of the Bible. I've read one book out of the Bible. I really need to work on that for sure. But up until that point, like my whole life, up until I was like 9 or 10 when my parents got divorced, we were heavily involved in the church. So I knew all of this stuff about God and whatnot. It's just, I fell away. So, but anyways, like I said, he does not care. He does not care where you're at, what you're involved in, what's wrong with you, any of that. Obviously, he cares about your situation, but he will come meet you. Okay, when it is his time to come meet you, he will come meet you, and it will be so obvious that there's nothing else you could really explain about it. Like, if there's something mysterious about something that happened to you and it ultimately resulted in a positive outcome, that was God. Okay, like, you can't explain why this happened, but whatever happened, it resulted in a positive outcome, whether it's the next day or 5 years later. Like, I can pinpoint everything back to where the shift happened, back to this one point when that tree fell down on my car. My video now is at 23 some minutes, so I'm gonna cut it now. If you want to comment and stuff like that, like I said, this is my first video and I want to continue this kind of stuff. I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking to even convert anybody. If my stories help you out and you do turn to God because of it, cool. That's not my goal here. I just want to like share with people. That's all I'm really trying to do. I just want to share with people different perspectives and whatnot, and it just like make some content and whatnot, and just share my story and hope it might help some people maybe along the way. But if you want to see this stuff continue, I guess start following me. I mean, I never did this before, and so start following me and comment, message me, whatever. Follow me on Facebook, Tyler Kaufer. I got a picture of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Like AI, like his head AI'd into Johnny Cash's body where he's at that Folsom prison, you know, and he's like, you know, it's RFK's face. So you'll be able to tell it's mine. You can follow me on Facebook. I do have a TikTok, and I'm gonna try to put this on TikTok, though it's 24 minutes. I don't know. I'm just like this. This is all new to me, and I'm just trying to get it out there. So like, share, and follow. Thanks, and have a great day. God bless you, and God bless America.